File item 232, Senate Bill 139. Senator Galgiani? Pass. File item 233, Senate Resolution 41. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 41 by Senator Morrell relative to National Preparedness Month.
Senator Morrell.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I appreciate this. Tomorrow, starting September 1st, marks the 12th annual observance of National Preparedness Month. It's a month set aside to point out the importance of being ready for emergencies. Here in California, we're well aware of our earthquakes as well as wildfires. So what we're asking is we need to collectively prepare ourselves to respond when these wildfires and earthquakes occur. So September, communities will be hosting events to promote emergency awareness to our citizens. And so the tough point is recovery from these disasters requires that everyone in the community to work together. So we can prepare by stocking up on supplies, emergency kits, and creating plans to protect our families and our community and neighbors. So I want to thank all those across our state who are dedicating to responding to these disasters. And members, please join me in recognizing September as Preparedness Month. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on SR 41. Thank you.
Any discussion or debate? Senator Jackson.
Yes, thank you. I too stand in support and thank my colleague for bringing this measure as the Vice Chair and formerly the Chair of the Emergency Management Committee. Our first responders, our emergency resources are so critically important to the health and well-being of our state, and our Office of Emergency Services is without question the most prepared, the most professional, the most organized of any state in this nation, and I think we all owe them our deepest appreciation for the great work that they have been doing with our fires. We anticipate potentially a major El Nino this winter, which will also require services that they provide, and they have been the heroes to so many of us, both personally and within our districts, and wish to point that out, shout out to them, and thank them for all they do on behalf of the people of our great state. With that, I would urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion or debate? Senator Morrell, do you choose to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the use of unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 39, noes 0, the measure passes. File item 234, Senate Concurrent Resolution 86. Senator Pan? Pass on file. File item 235, Senate Resolution 42. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 42 by Senator Nguyen relative to India's Independence Day.
Senator Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam President. Today I'm proud to present Senate Resolution 42 to celebrate the Republic of India's independence. On August 15, 1947, India achieved independence following nearly 100 years of nonviolent resistance to colonial rule. Since its independence 68 years ago, India has risen from colonial rule to become one of the largest economies of the world, while administering a nation of more than 1 billion people in an area roughly 1/3 the size of the United States. California is home to the largest population of Asian Indians in the United States, and our state benefits greatly from their economic and social contributions. I ask that you join me today in recognizing India's independence movement and continue efforts for national prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or debate? Any discussion or debate? Any objection to the use of a unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 39, noes 0. The resolution is adopted. File item 236, SR 43. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 43 by Senator Nguyen relative to Korean Independence Day.
Senator Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam President. I also rise to recognize the 7th anniversary of Korean independence by presenting Senate Resolution 43. Koreans worldwide celebrate August 15, 1945 as the day that brought liberation to the people of Korea from decades of colonialism. The independence achieved by the Republic of Korea came through the bravery of thousands of soldiers and civilians that lost their lives in support of the independence movement during the Second World War. California is home to more than 450,000 Korean Americans who joined Koreans throughout the war to celebrate August 15 as Korean Independence Day. California across the state have the opportunity to celebrate the great contribution of Korean Americans to the United States, and I ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Any discussion or debate on the resolution? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, any objection to the use of unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 39, noes 0. The resolution is adopted. File item 237, Senate Resolution 44, pass on file. File item 238, Senate Resolution 45, pass. File item 239, Senate Concurrent Resolution 87, pass on file. File item 240, Senate Concurrent Resolution number 88. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 88 by Senator Runner relative to Human Trafficking Awareness Month.
Senator Runner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Senate Concurrent Resolution SCR 88 proclaims the month of January 2016 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month, seeks to educate all Californians about the serious problem that is human trafficking and forced labor. Human trafficking is a form of modern-day slavery that affects an estimated 800,000 victims a year globally, and an estimated 15,000 to 17,000 victims in the United States each year, with over 70% of victims in the U.S. identified as Americans. Through educating the public of the significant moral and economic harm that human trafficking has on society, we may be able to identify victims and restore their individual freedom as well as their physical, mental, and emotional state. A number of organizations and law enforcement personnel throughout the state and country are working tirelessly to provide the needed resources to combat human trafficking and to prosecute the perpetrators of these egregious crimes. But as with anything, much more can be done. It's important to continue the discussion and bring this serious issue that does exist in our country and get our state out of the shadows and into the light. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate on the measure, on the resolution? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, is there any objection to the use of unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 39, noes 0. The resolution is adopted. File item 241, Senate Bill 168. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 168 by Senator Gaines, an act relating to unmanned aircraft systems and declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Senator Gaines.
Thank you, Madam President and members. I bring to you Senate Bill 168. This bill increases the penalty for drone interference when firefighting and creates civil immunity for emergency responders with damage to a drone that is interfering with the emergency response. Early in the course of this drought-heightened fire season, private unauthorized drones have repeatedly halted firefighting efforts. The simple presence of these drones has forced firefighters to ground mission-critical tanker aircraft, unnecessarily putting pilots, firefighters, and civilians, along with property, at risk. Additionally, 2 weeks ago, a drone almost collided with an air ambulance transporting a patient to the hospital, putting everyone in the helicopter at risk. Through both the increased fines and creation of civil immunity, SB 168 will help keep rogue drones from interfering with these emergency situations and from preventing the most effective response to time-sensitive crises. This bill passed unanimously in the Senate Judiciary Committee. I am pleased to be joined by Senator Jackson as a co-author, along with Senators Leno, McGuire, and many more, Senators Runner, Bates, Anderson, Nielsen, and more. So very thankful for that. We're working hard to urgently pass this through the Assembly, and I urge your aye vote.
Thank you. Senator Jackson.
Thank you, Madam President, and colleagues. I'm proud to stand as a joint author with Senator Gaines on this measure. We did a hearing last week, and I think to the consternation and amazement of so many of us who attended the number of incidents where drones have interfered in emergency efforts, particularly with respect to fires and medevacing injured people to the hospital, has been nothing short of astonishing. Unfortunately, we have virtually no rules and regulations at this point in time to address the use of drones, and we are seeing some of the serious consequences, particularly when it comes to trying to deal with fires and other emergencies and the safety and security of our first responders. So I want to thank Senator Gaines for his effort here. You know, drones are an exciting and new technology and offer many tremendous promises and things that they can do. But unless and until we start putting some parameters and expectations on drones and those who fly them, we are going to find ourselves at increasing risk for this kind of a tragedy that almost occurred with a helicopter flying an injured person into a hospital, I believe, in Modesto. This is a statewide, indeed a nationwide crisis, and this bill is an obvious, logical, and important first step in limiting the use of drones and making sure they don't impede our critical personnel when they are trying to help us with either fires or any other emergencies that we will be and are confronting today. With that, I would urge your aye vote.
Senator Bates.
Thank you, Madam President. I, too, rise in strong support and thank the author for introducing this and providing us all an opportunity to co-author. We know that new technology that's come forth is great promise in public safety, but balance is very, very important, and I believe that that's what's so important about this bill. It strikes the appropriate balance between public safety and property rights by protecting our firefighters when they're responding to an emergency. So I ask for your aye vote.
Senator Nielsen.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this bill is really very significant. Don't discount the amount of interference that will occur by those who either innocently or for their lust to get something out on the internet or on the blogs or some news media to depict the tragedy up front and personal. They will abuse these drones. They have great value, even significant value in areas like agriculture. But we've got to be careful with their intrusiveness. For example, electronic surveillance of criminals has got to be carefully done under the order of a judge after reviewing of the exigent circumstances and the cause for such surveillance. This invasion of our personal privacy is very dangerous, and it takes many, many aspects well beyond this emergency response interference. But it is particularly dangerous here because it affects potentially many, many lives.
Senator Morlock.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm new here, but I've been very impressed with how quickly a bill of this nature has been introduced and brought to the floor. The incidents that have been referred to just happened a few months ago. So this is quite incredible. I want to thank the Senator for introducing the bill and just delighted to vote for it. Thank you, Madam President.
Any further discussion or debate? Senator, would you like to close?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank everybody who spoke, in particular Senator Jackson for her joint authorship as we move forward, and just urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the use of unanimous roll call on this measure? Seeing none, ayes 39, noes 0 on the urgency. Ayes 39, noes 0, the measure passes. Senator Gaines, for what purpose do you rise?
Yes, Madam President, I would like to ask for immediate transmittal to the Assembly.
Certainly, the desk will know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Assembly third reading. Like we did previously, colleagues, I'll give you, because all the items aren't eligible in file order, so I'll give you about 5 of the measures we intend to take up to give you time to prepare to present. We'll start with file items 245, 265, 275, 277, and 280. Again, file items 245, 265, 275, 277, and 280. Beginning with file item 245, AB 807, pass. File item 265, Assembly Bill 775, Senator Jackson, pass. File item 275, pass. File item 277, AB 643, Senator Bell. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 643 by Assemblymember Nazarian, an act relating to emergency services.
Senator Bell.
Madam President and Senators, the existing law we have today allows the Highway Patrol to activate a Silver Alert, which is a notification system that alerts public when a person who is at least 65 years old, developmentally disabled, or cognitively impaired, and that has been reported missing. This bill updates the Silver Alert program to allow the use of changeable message sign to disseminate information when a vehicle is involved in the person's missing incident. Now, 6 out of 10 people with dementia will wander. There's a factor of a danger to the missing person due to their illness. The person may have special needs, taking medication. This ensures that the Highway Patrol is equipped with all available tools to help locate the missing person. It will help them locate somebody who's driving a car, especially on our state highways. The bill has no registered opposition, has received unanimous bipartisan support. I urge and I vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any discussion or debate on the measure? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, is there any objection to the use of unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 39, no 0. The measure passes. File item 280, Assembly Bill 531. Senator Liu, pass. Colleagues, the next batch of items we will go to are file items 282, 285, 291, 297, and 298. Proceeding on to file item 282, Assembly Bill 273. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 273 by the Committee on Environmental Safety and Toxic Materials, an act relating to hazardous waste and substances.
Senator Jackson.
Good afternoon, Madam President and colleagues. AB 273 by the Assembly Environmental Safety and Toxic Materials Committee will increase the interest rate charged on billed but unpaid invoices owed to the Department of Toxic Substances Control, DTSC, to improve the timeliness of collections from responsible parties. The current interest rate is so low, less than 0.256%, so low it's probably not even worth reciting that number, that the state auditor believes there is little incentive for responsible parties to make payments on time. It sounds like a pretty good deal, I suspect, to most of us. The auditor recommended that in order to improve DTSC's efforts to promptly recover its costs, meaning costs to the taxpayer, the legislature should revise state law to allow DTSC to use a higher interest rate assessed on late payments. This bill would require any monetary obligation owed to DTSC to accrue interest at a flat 10% or 7% for local governments. This measure will have a net positive impact on state resources, either to incentivize parties to pay their bills on time, like the rest of us are expected to do, and thus prevent DTSC from having to spend staff time to follow up on delinquent bills, or it will generate additional revenue from increased interest charges. According to DTSC, the department will have minor and absorbable workload associated with updating billing procedures that would likely be offset by the potential increase in revenue, which could be up to $3.185 million. With that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. No. Bates. No. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Canella. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. No. Gaines. Aye. Galgiani. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Wesso. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell.
Aye.
Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. No. Morrell. No. Wynn. No. Nilsson. No. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. No. Stone. No. Vidak. No. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members, please.
Berryhill. Canella. Galgiani. Hancock. Huff.
Ayes 25, noes 10. The measure passes. File item 285, Assembly Bill 447. Senator Lara. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 447 by Assemblymember Mainshine, an act relating to insurance.
Senator Lara.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Today I present AB 447 regarding insurance discrimination for properties with Section 8 tenants. People with access to subsidized housing programs like the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program have been priced out of many of the rental markets by rising rents. Protecting the rental opportunities that remain affordable and accessible to low-income families is critical in preventing homelessness for this vulnerable population. AB 447 would make it illegal for an insurance provider to deny any habitation insurance to a property owner or landlord on the basis that the individual tenants of a property receive a voucher under Section 8 or other low-income housing subsidy programs. Members, AB 447 will help to ensure the availability of housing for those who are receiving assistance by not forcing landlords to choose between readily available and competitive insurance rates to renting to Section 8 voucher holders. Just to clarify, as a result of the amendments taken in Senate insurance, several insurance providers have removed their opposition. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or debate on this item? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Bates. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. Gaines. Galgiani. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Hernandez. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Wesso. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. No. Morrell. Wynn. Aye. Nilsson. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Vidak. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Morrell, no.
Please call the absent members one time, please.
Anderson. Aye. Bates. Berryhill. Fuller. Gaines. Galgiani. Aye. Hancock. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Nielsen. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Ayes 30, noes 2. The measure passes. File item 291, Assembly Bill 718. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 718 by Assemblymember 2, an act relating to local government.
Senator Hueso.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Today I rise to present AB 718. This bill would prohibit a city or a county from citing or fining a person for sleeping in a lawfully parked vehicle. California has by far the highest number of homeless individuals of any state in the country. More than 1 out of every 5 homeless persons in the United States lives in California. It has become a growing problem, a growing concern, and many local jurisdictions, instead of trying to find solutions to homelessness, they've started to vilify the homeless people who choose to sleep in their vehicles. There was a court decision recently that struck down a Los Angeles ordinance that prohibited people from using a vehicle parked or standing on any city street or parking lot as living quarters, either overnight or day by day or otherwise, and they struck it down as vague. When I was in college, I saw similar vagueness to that law. In fact, I went through college living in my car for about 2 years, and that was how I got through college. But for other people, it's a question of survival. It's a question of their vehicle being their only roof over their head, and instead of helping them, in many cities, they're being vilified and being fined and making their economic situation worse. This bill doesn't prevent cities from creating parking ordinances or rules, but it simply prohibits a law enforcement officer from arresting, citing, or otherwise penalizing an occupant of a motor vehicle for any criminal activity or violation of the vehicle code simply because they're poor. I ask for your support for this important measure, and maybe this will put a little more pressure on local governments and the state and all communities to help the poor and people in need instead of putting them in jail. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Stone.
Thank you, Madam President. We always worry about the unintended consequences of legislation. I want to make sure that if we have somebody that is overindulged in alcohol and wishes to sleep in their car, that they're going to do that responsibly instead of putting innocent people in harm's way on our highways and sleep in their car without the fear of being arrested. For that reason, I strongly recommend and I vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion or debate? Senator, do you choose to close? Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me, Senator. Senator Morlott. Didn't see your mic, sir. I apologize.
I should have been faster. I apologize, Madam President. I served as the initial chair of the Committee to End Homelessness in Orange County, and I'm real sensitive to this issue, but I'm wondering if we're giving the wrong solution to an issue. This Senate was really helpful in creating what we call SB2 zones, where you now are required to put a 200-bed year-round homeless shelter somewhere in your city. That's the kind of things we should be looking at. Where can people park when they're homeless without being disrupted or antagonized? But if we're allowing them to park anywhere, it just sort of creates different problems. And so we're trying to fix something, but I don't think this is the right solution. I'll be opposed. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, Senator Hueso, please close.
Thank you, Madam President. And just to clarify, this bill does not prevent a local jurisdiction from creating parking regulations. So it doesn't mean that anybody could park anywhere they want because of this law. It simply says that if somebody is illegally parked, they cannot be arrested, fined, or detained or any of that other reason. So I think this is a good bill to vote for. It doesn't either encourage people to sleep in their cars or discourage it. It simply says that if you choose to do so under some economically challenged situations you might find yourself in, that you're not further treated as a villain, or not treated as a villain for your situation in life. So I again urge everyone's aye vote for this bill.
Senator Nielsen, for what purpose do you rise?
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, just a word of caution. Law enforcement proceeds on incidents based on probable cause, okay? And maybe this car is properly parked. Maybe somebody is in there sleeping, or maybe they're pretending they're sleeping, hoping to use this bill to succeed in not getting prosecuted for something. They may have a car full of empty whiskey bottles, or marijuana, or worse. And they will argue, their attorneys will, that the officer did not have probable cause for coming up to that vehicle and investigating the situation at hand. Unintended consequences can be severe consequences. So keep that in your mind.
Colleagues, Senator Nielsen, we had already heard the close on that bill, so I'm going to ask for one last call. If there is any further discussion or debate, I'm going to allow the author to close again, but no other mics will be recognized on this measure. Is there any further discussion or debate? Seeing none. Senator Hueso.
Thank you. I want to respond to that as well, because
Please.
it was simply a muddying of the waters. There is nothing that will prevent an officer, should they have probable cause, and doing a search of somebody that's either legally or illegally parked. If there is some evidence that gives an officer probable cause to go through whoever's parked there, I mean, they can do that still. This bill does nothing to minimize that in any way. So, I mean, it's a simple bill, and no need to muddy the waters on this. I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Allen. Anderson. Bates. No. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. Gaines. Fuller, no. Gaines. No. Galgiani. Glazer. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Hill. Aye. Wisso. Aye. Huff. No. Jackson. Lada. Aye. Leno. Leva. Liu. Aye. Leno, aye. McGuire. No. Mendoza. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Morlock. No. Morrell. No. Wynn. No. Nielsen. No. Pan. Pavley. Roth. Runner. No. Stone. Aye. Vidak. No. Wykowski. Aye. Wolk.
Senator Hueso places that measure on call.